That's probably in the
Edit
start of the
that-
video.
edit that out.
No, we should leave that in.
Alright, so we're back with our Vice President External debate, the last debate this evening. We have two candidates, and I will give them both a minute and a half. My phone is dying, so I'm just going to try and count a minute and a half. To introduce themselves, why they're running, and give us a bit of their platform. And so I will start with... It's okay, I think we'll be fine, really. No one's been going over. So we'll start with Montana.
All right. So, my name is Montana Hunter, and I'm running for VP External in the upcoming AUS elections. I've been fairly involved in student government for the past year. I've sat as the fourth-year rep in the Arts Undergraduate Society. I've also been elected to Senate, and I'm currently serving as the Vice Chair of the University External Relations Committee. I'm extremely passionate about student politics and about the Arts Undergraduate Society. I've kind of come to a very strange approach, and rather than getting more and more bitter throughout my university time, I've gotten more and more excited about being involved at UBC. My platform focuses on three different things. I'm really a fan of arts identity and promoting arts pride in themselves. A lot of people feel that they're frustrated by being in arts and that arts is a second-class faculty. I really don't think that's the case, and I really think arts need to present themselves on campus as a first-class faculty. And one of the roles of the VP External is representing the arts as one of the best faculties, if not the best, on campus. The other thing is raising the presence of the AUS on campus in general, whether it's through Imagine, whether it's through hosting events, and just making the AUS an extremely engaged force on campus. And finally, although this isn't entirely under the external portfolio, it's just reaching out to art students in general. Art students are extremely diverse faculty, and one of the problems the AUS needs to deal with is how to reach out to people from all these different organizational backgrounds, whether it's music, theater, political science, history. We're such diverse faculty, and that's what I think one of the most important things for the VP External to do. So, thank you very much.
Perfect. I'm Sebastian Slay. I'm also running for VP External. I'm a first year, and this year what I've done is I've co-chaired my own committee as first year rep, and I've also sat on AUS Council. On top of that, I also sit on the AMS Student Life and Communications Committee. I'm also incoming as a interfraternal council member, which will be huge if I do get elected to liaison with the Greek system. And I have a couple ideas for VPX. Like, there's a number of things that need to be focused on, and one is communication. It all comes down to communication and branching out to other people, and then also your own students. So I have that experience, and I'm going to be able to liaison with the Greek system and other people. Communication, I have a couple of ideas. E-newsletters, we started that for a couple hundred people, but the email bank is nowhere near where it should be. And if we have like a monthly e-letter for students, they will in turn know about what's going on in the AUS, know what we're doing and what we're throwing, like what events we're having. So that'll encourage involvement and also branching out to other constituencies. This year as first year rep, we are currently planning an event with pretty much every faculty, an interfaculty dance. And on top of that, I'm also doing another event, a boat cruise with Solder. And so this is just new, like in the past month, that I've been branching out to these other constituencies, and I found it very valuable, and I want to continue that over the next year if elected. Other than that, for students, what I want to do is connect them with the alumni relations. This, in turn, will do two things. First of all, it will help, the Alumni Association will be able to help art students kind of give them a path, because a lot of our students don't know where they're going or what they're going to do. Also, it can help them have connection once they graduate with alumni, and they valuable connections. That's pretty much sums up my platform, and yeah.
Perfect. So I have 5 questions for you, so we'll go through those, and then if there are any questions from the audience, we'll take those at the end. So I guess to start, the biggest role you play is liaising with other faculties and other campus groups. What do you think are the 2 biggest groups that we could better reach out to? How would you do that, and what would that relationship look like? So I guess we'll start with Montana.
Okay.
Yes, we'll start with you for the first question.
Okay, fantastic. I think, first of all, for the AUS specifically, we have to reach out to the faculty more. And that works with academics, it works with connecting to students. The faculty is such an important part of the day-to-day life of students that it is extremely important for the AUS to connect to them. I know a lot of that should go through the VP Academic, but I think the VP External should take a stronger role in connecting to the faculty as well. Beyond that, I think it's really important to connect to the AMS and the other student societies. I kind of broadened out the question there a little bit, but I think they all fit as organizations that support students and represent students on campus. and that the AUS, by connecting to them, will be able to increase its presence on campus and really be a much stronger faculty and a much stronger student society.
I completely agree with Montana. We should branch out to the arts faculty. At the same time, that does not fall under the VP external portfolio. What does is branching out to other constituencies. So having interfaculty dance and interfaculty relations between solder, science, engineering, those are huge. We haven't been doing enough of that, and that's one of the main things that I want to focus on. On top of that is the Greek system. The Greek system is a huge entity on campus, probably one of the biggest Greek organizations in Canada, and the AUS has very little involvement with them. And being a part of the Greek system myself, I see the involvement and people are eager to help out. And to bring them out to the AS, that would be huge. And as an incoming interfraternal council member who liaisons with a representative from each Greek organization, that's huge. So those are the two main things that I want to focus on.
So also under the external portfolio is some of the AUS branding. You're in charge of selling the AUS to these other groups. What does the AUS brand look like to you? How would you like to improve it?
Well, obviously we have the new AUS logo, and we're relatively new, and that's fantastic. We're kind of branding ourselves like a corporation now for every event and everything, so that's amazing, and we need to continue that and continue that strong branding. Branching out, it's a sense of professionalism. We represent over 12,000 students. We're a huge organization, and when we approach other constituencies, they should realize that. And the AUS has done a great job, and we can continue bettering the sponsorship, because I know this entire space here in Mass could have sponsors for Frosh and for other events for the AUS, and we need to continue that. And what I want to do is focus on hiring and transitioning a very strong sponsorship coordinator, so that we can bring in strong sponsors to help out, and in turn, when sponsors come on board, they can bring different things to the AUS that will trickle down to students, whether it's free stuff or money that we can get to help through other events.
I completely agree with Sebastian on that one. I think sponsorship is incredibly important for the AUS, as well as for propagating ourselves as a society, promoting ourselves across campus. One of the things that I love to see with curtain merchandising, etc., is looking at the bookstore and looking at the kind of merchandise we have there. If you look at the science table, you look at the solder table, they're all very well developed. They've got tons of, whether it's cups, shirts, and they're fantastic designs. You look at the AUS table, and we've got a handful of t-shirts there. And I know the AUS has been going through a rebranding, and I think it's fantastic that it's doing that, and they did a really good job in this past year. Now what we need is more of that. We need to keep on pushing this. We're such a large student society. We can do this.
Fantastic. My next question was going to be about sponsorship, so what a great way to lead in. What do you think are some of the biggest sponsorship opportunities for the AUS, and how would you go about reaching out and bringing in some sponsorship for the constituency? I think it is your turn to start, Montana.
All right. I think finding sponsors for events is really, really huge for the AUS. Events cost quite a lot of money, whether it's parties that we're holding, whether it's something like Frosh. Sponsorship can really cut down the costs for students coming to an event like Frosh. We have one of the most expensive Froshes on campus, and we really should cut that down to make it more affordable and be able to connect to more students. And I think sponsorship will really help with that. Whether it's merchandise sponsorship, whether it's finding alcohol or free stuff, everybody loves their swag. We really need to reach out to organizations that can provide such resources to the AUS.
Yeah, over the past year, I've worked closely with the social coordinator, VP Student Life, with throwing my events, and there's kind of a capacity where we can hit without sponsorship, and I think we've hit pretty much that capacity, and sponsorship can help us take us to that next level, and that's huge, and especially for Frosh. I know it is expensive, but this was only our second Frosh this year, and as a Froshie this year, I see what works and what doesn't, and I have a lot of plans for working with the VP Student Life and the incoming Frosh coordinator to make Frosh kind of explode. Kind of Solder as a huge Frosh, and everyone talks about how amazing it is. I want that for arts, and that in turn will help with arts pride. Other than that, it's something that needs to be addressed right away. As whoever comes into office, it's something that needs to be a focus, and that's as simple as it is.
So a lot of the work that you're hoping to do, you are the voice externally, but you really need to know what's going on within the team. So how will you go about keeping up to date with the workings of AUS Council, and what role do you usually take within a team that allows you to do this?
Should I start?
Yeah, I think it's your turn to start.
For people that don't know the VP External, obviously, they chair their own committee, the external committee, and they also sit on council, so they're an executive, and they also sit on the executive committee. and that's huge. They have to integrate themselves not only with external organizations, but also internally. And that's what we're here to do. Every executive is here to serve the AUS students, and the VP External is there by connecting them to outside organizations. So it's all about liaising and kind of throwing ourselves out there and being professional and approaching other organizations and being, hey, we want to work together. We want to host events together. We want to, do something big for the students, for you guys. So that's what I want to focus on.
Fantastic. I completely agree with you on most of that. I think it's really important to connect with the execs. The execs are the people who really power what the AUS does and promote its vision over the year. And so it's very, very important for the VP External to connect with them, connect to their vision, and be able to present their vision to other student societies, to possible sponsors. And so staying connected with execs through weekly meetings, making sure that you're attending council, as well as making sure to attend other committees, particularly relevant committees like student life, internal, etc. Will really help keeping execs, keeping the VP External engaged with what is happening inside the AUS.
Fantastic. If you could set just one goal for the year, could you tell us what that goal would be and a timeline of steps for how you would accomplish that in your new position?
I really want the AUS to have a larger presence on campus. And it's hard to quantify a presence, but I think it's very, very important that we aim for this. Through having a larger frosh, which grabs more people, which incoming students can afford. Through having a larger presence on Imagine Day, doing simple things like painting people purple and having them running around being super excited about arts. Throughout the year, hosting fantastic events that draw on people from other faculties, hosting events where it's not as much a bit of a competition between faculties, but everything from a laser tag event to the or hosting another Spy versus Spy that we're doing currently. Doing those things will help connect the AUS to other organizations on campus. It'll make it more visible and it'll make it more relevant for students who will see that the presence that we have and thus want to be more engaged with us.
I agree. It all comes down to the Arts Undergraduate Society kind of exploding on campus and being that big thing. And how we do that is from huge events. That's pretty much what it comes down to. After ACF, after we stopped doing ACF, we kind of had to rebuild from scratch. We had to kind of figure out where we were going. And right now, where we're going is events. That's still like what was huge back in the day, and it'll continue to be huge on campus. We're a university. People in their spare time, other than academics, they want to have fun. They want to, be proud of an organization that can throw them huge events and kind of everyone's kind of like, oh my goodness, kind of put the AUS on a pedestal in a sense. So elevate the AUS above the other undergraduate societies. We're the biggest, and that's what we need to do. We need to facilitate that arts pride, like he said, and do that through events.
So the communications director does fall under your portfolio, and you've talked a little bit about communications. But what would your communications strategy for the next year look like? I think it's your turn.
Yes.
To start.
Communication, not only is it important to branch out personally, but I want to connect what I do as VP External, if elected, to the students. And by doing that, I talked about the e-letter earlier. That's something that I really want to focus on. I think it's a huge way to connect to all art students. First of all, getting the email bank. The email bank needs to be improved. For starters, for that to be a success, we need to continue liaisoning with the group that has the emails. Sorry, getting nervous. And in turn, sending out an email monthly for students, they will kind of understand what's happening in the organization and where they can get involved. Because a lot of students don't know what there is that's happening that they can get involved with, and they don't even know if it's going to interest them. So that's one of the most important things, other than obviously branching out to other constituencies.
I completely agree with you on that. I think having an updated email list is very, very important for the AUS. Stuff like the email that was sent out recently, I believe about a week and a half ago, didn't have the AUS elections updated on it, which is so, so important if you want to connect to students.
There was an email, so there you go.
There was, yeah. Beyond that, maintaining our Twitter feed, which has been maintained fantastically by Mary, Communications Manager, in the past year. I think she's done a wonderful job with that. And updating the website. When people want to connect with something in this kind of new and technological world, they always go to websites. They Google it. They'll Google AUS. And we really have to keep that modernized. We need to keep it updated with events. We need to keep it updated with minutes from meetings, so students who are interested in engaging can see how they're going to engage. We need to keep the people who are actually part of the AUS updated on it, etc. So I think those three things: email, Twitter, and updating our website are kind of the cornerstones of the communications manager.
Perfect. And then the last question that I have that I've been asking everyone is, what skill or quality do you possess that makes you the best candidate for this job? So, okay.
All right. I'm extremely knowledgeable and I'm extremely passionate about student government. I'm a bit of a geek about it, to be honest. It's fascinatingly interesting. I've started, although I've gotten involved with it late, I've really started just diving into as much of it as I can. I love its interworkings. Beyond that, I'm extremely, extremely passionate about everything that I set my mind to. When I decide I want to do something, I throw myself into it 120%. Beyond that, too, I'm getting more and more passionate about the AUS. As I think I mentioned earlier, I'd kind of come the opposite route. Rather than becoming more and more bitter, I became more and more excited about involvement at UBC. And I think that's definitely one of my strengths, particularly as a fourth year going to his fifth year. Becoming more and more passionate is so important, and it's that kind of passion that can engage students, involve students, and that can represent the Arts Undergraduate Society on campus.
Yeah, similar to Montana, I've gotten involved in the US over the past year as well. So obviously I'm a first year, so since September, I got right involved. I ran for first year rep and I won, and I've been involved ever since. I've sat on council, and it's something that's kind of hit me as well. It's exciting, and the AUS I see has so much room for growth, and I really want to be a part of that for the students and for the AUS as a whole. And it's something that the VP External needs to kind of be passionate about. If a VP is not passionate and kind of willing to like sacrifice time for the AUS, then how are they going to be able to improve and achieve what they want to? So that's what I'm willing to do. I've branched out to a number of different constituencies involved in the AMS and Greek life, and I can bring that to the AUS, and I can continue that involvement and expanding.
Fantastic. So that's all the questions I have. Is there any questions from the floor? Mary.
I have a question. Both of you talked about expanding the email system, and currently it's an opt-in system, and in previous discussions, because of privacy issues, we're actually not allowed to obtain a full list of all the students and their email addresses from the university to send out emails. So how will you encourage more students to sign up for this email newsletter, since it is an opt-in system?
If I may.
Go for it.
I don't think there's enough knowledge about it in general. I don't think enough people know that it exists, and I don't think enough people know to opt in on it. We should have signs in the ass saying, do you want to opt in onto the AUS newsletter? We should be talking to everybody we engage in. We should be presenting that on the front of our Facebook page, and we should be tweeting it every now and then. And it's that kind of thing that lets people know what's going on, lets people engage, and I think that is what we really is the next step to do that.
First of all, yeah, privacy issues. Just because like an organization says no the first time, it doesn't mean we can't keep pushing for something, because it will be helpful for the students. So first of all, we need to keep pushing for it and explain to them why it's important and why it's valuable, and that we will really take this information and keep it secret, but use it for beneficial purposes. Also, yeah, we need to explain to students and get it out there what the email bank is and what it's for, and it's to include students in the AUS. Starting from Frosh, I think like that's a huge thing where you can like contact hundreds of students that are coming in first year, and if you do that for however many years, students are going to be continually hearing about it and signing up, and by that time in a couple of years it'll be huge. It just starts now. We need to continue that promoting and letting students know.
Awesome. Anything else? Jenny.
You guys talked about getting AUS sponsorship, and I think we all agree that it's very important. But from our past experiences with approach sponsors, and many times have just been declined, what kind of tools and strategies will you guys be able to use to really engage sponsors and get them to care about AUS?
Okay, go ahead, so. To engage sponsors, you kind of just have to approach them and make them understand what the AUS is all about, kind of what we're here to do and how large of an organization we are and how much students we can reach out to. That'll attract sponsors automatically, hopefully. It's just making them understand what the AUS is doing and, why they want to kind of invest in us. Like what will they gain? And they'll gain huge exposure. It can be huge exposure from our events and different things that we're throwing. So that's one of the main focuses. It's my personality, I think, that differentiates myself. Like I can be congenial, I can be, professional, and I'm easy to talk to. I think like I talk to people in a kind of humanly way. Like I'm not saying you don't, obviously, but I mean that's one of my strong points, and I think that I could do a great job at that.
Right. I think we really need to get on finding a really good sponsorship team. I know AUS has had some troubles with sponsorship coordinators in the past year. Not necessarily their fault. It's just been students are busy, it's frustrating, and it's really hard reaching out to people. We need to really get a strong team right from day one. Connect people at the beginning who are going to be passionate about the AUS, and that thus we can have a really strong sponsorship group for the entire year. Rather, because I know last year there were some troubles with that, because the VP External, while it does deal with sponsorship, shouldn't be the main sponsorship coordinator. That's not their job. They need to oversee sponsorship. And so we really need to have an effective way of delegating responsibility with that, and thus doing everything else that Sebastian suggested earlier.
Mr. Soleil.
Great debate, guys. What's the? I have one question. What's one thing that you think you could improve or do better on from the past VP External?
Let you take that one.
First of all, I think Caroline did a really, really good job as VP External. So, big shout out to her. She has been fantastic. I think we really need to work on getting a good team of people. The whole sponsorship thing, which I just ranted briefly about, was very, very frustrating for the AUS. And finding a way to really move beyond that. Beyond that, effectively, poor Soleil runs away. Beyond that, just holding meeting times consistently and having a really strong external committee. While Caroline herself was fantastic, she wasn't quite as effective at keeping the external committee meeting consistently week to week. And I think that's something that I can really effectively do and build upon over the year.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the coordination of your team as VP External. You have to have a strong base. So what I plan to do, if elected, I plan to obviously have the interview process and have a good, strong transition so that the students are prepared, they know what they're getting themselves into, and that there aren't any falters, and they understand what their responsibilities are so that they can achieve their goals. And it kind of starts off, as soon as you're elected, you have to plan out what you're going to do for the year. So you have to make those key points and make a timeline so that you can achieve your goals, because that's what it comes down to. It comes to planning and achieving your goals for the AUS, and that's a huge thing that needs to be accomplished.
Awesome. So I think that wraps up our debate. So we'll give you 30 seconds closing why they should vote for you. So, Montana, you want to start?
I'll take it off
Okay.
here. Okay, so once again, my name is Montana Hunter, and I'm running for VP External of the Arts Undergraduate Society. I am super, super excited about this opportunity to be involved to a greater extent with the AUS. I'm very passionate about arts identity and an arts presence on campus, as well as reaching out to the various diverse parts of the arts faculty. I'm very, very interested in student government. I've had been quite involved in the past couple of years through Senate, the AMS, and the University External Relations Committee, as well as sitting on a number of committees in the AUS itself. I think the AUS has made some really excellent, excellent strides in the past couple of years, and what we need to do is keep that moving, keep it pushing. The AUS has been doing such a fantastic job, and I'm very excited for the opportunity to continue doing that. So thank you, and I hope you vote.
And my name is Sebastian Soleil, still a first year, but going into second year. I'm just really passionate about this position. Ever since coming here in September, I've dived in a number of organizations, and that'll help me so much with this position that I think it separates me from my competition. And I know what I want to do: sponsorship, communication, and alumni relations. Those are my 3 goals, and I can accomplish them, so please vote for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much to our 2 candidates.